it is kind of crazy to look back on it and think that you have Yo Gotti, who's traditionally always been pretty tight-lipped, pretty quiet about beef and everything, and then all of a sudden he's got this new artist who is just acting a fool, doing all the craziest shit, pulling up to people's neighborhoods, making Instagram videos, etc. All this stuff that you don't see anybody associated with CMG doing that stuff. You don't really see a lot of rappers besides like, you know, more underground guys doing that type of shit in general these days, just because I think people are a little bit more aware of how much the cops are watching them on social media and everything. But
Yo Gotti has allegedly kicked off a serious and dangerous situation in Memphis involving one of his own artists. And what's unfolding right now has the entire hip-hop world watching closely. Behind the massive success of the CMG empire, there's been unresolved tension simmering for a long time, and now it's finally boiled over into something that could turn deadly if it keeps escalating. The real story behind what's tearing apart one of Memphis's most powerful crews is way darker, messier, and more complicated than anyone expected. And yeah, we're about to break all of it down. Yo, what's good, fam? We're about to dive headfirst into some real street-level drama that's been shaking the hip-hop community to its core. This isn't just internet chatter or fake rumors. This is about loyalty being tested, betrayal cutting deep, and how fast situations can spiral out of control when egos clash and old beef gets stirred back up. Before we get too far into this, let me keep it a buck with y'all. Social media has been going crazy trying to figure out why. Blac Youngsta suddenly removed CMG from his bio and announced that he's independent. But trust me, we're about to separate the facts from the fiction, the truth from the noise, because this situation goes way beyond a simple label disagreement. Just a few days ago, everything changed for the CMG camp. Blac Youngsta, the same artist who wrote harder for Yo Gotti than just about anybody, made a move nobody saw coming. This is the same dude who was always front and center during the Young Dolph situation, standing 10 toes down for Gotti and the label. Out of nowhere, he declared independence and started dropping messages that immediately had the streets buzzing. And while Youngsta's posts raised eyebrows, it was Yo Gotti's response, or lack thereof, that really poured gasoline on the fire. Now hold up before you start thinking, this is just another case of an artist leaving a label to go solo. Nah, this one hits way closer to home. We're talking about two men who were once like brothers. Two dudes who helped build an empire side by side, faced enemies together, and stood unified when the pressure was on. But here's where things get interesting and dangerous. When the common enemy disappears, sometimes the internal cracks start showing. Crews that once moved as one start turning on each other. Here's the thing though, every year, Blac Youngsta seems to go viral for pulling the same move, removing CMG from his bio and claiming independence. Last year, he did it just a week before Yo Gotti's birthday and still popped out to the celebration like everything was cool. But this time, nah, this time feels different. The energy is colder, the tone is more aggressive. This doesn't feel like a publicity stunt anymore, it feels personal. And the messages Youngsta has been posting aren't just about being independent. They're about respect, loyalty, and calling out what he believes is fake love. One of his posts said, "Play with me. I'ma take away everything that came out your mama. I swear to God all my brothers dead, so why not? The house going to send this upside down about me, dead or alive. But I stand on my own 10. That's why I'm respectful and respected everywhere I go." That's some intense, hostile energy. He's basically saying he has nothing left to lose because everyone close to him is already gone. But it doesn't stop there. This situation goes way deeper than an artist just feeling disrespected. Youngsta followed up with another post that seemed clearly aimed at Yo Gotti. He said, "These dudes CB4, and they still misleading the youth like they some type of mob bosses. Bro, I'm going to bed right now and it's 11 a.m. I'm sick of these dudes and I'm going to lead by example." And in hip-hop culture, calling someone CB4 is a heavy insult. For anyone who doesn't know, CB4 was a movie about fake rappers pretending to be gangsters. So by using that reference, Youngsta is basically accusing Gotti of playing a role, acting like a mob boss and selling an image he doesn't really live. That right there is the type of disrespect that doesn't just stay on social media. In a city like Memphis, words like that carry weight, and that's why the entire hip-hop community is on edge watching how this situation unfolds. But here's the real twist. Yo Gotti built his entire persona around that mob boss image. His very name comes from John Gotti, the infamous Gambino family boss. And throughout interviews, songs, and public appearances, Gotti has openly said he's been inspired by the mob lifestyle. So when Blac Youngsta called him CB4, this wasn't just some random shot. This was a direct attack on Gotti's identity, his brand, and everything he's cultivated over the years. The tension really escalated when Youngsta went on social media and said, "I blame the fake OGs, the fake big homies, the fake big brothers, the fake CEOs, the fake teachers, the fake people in your life not telling you right from wrong." Keep in mind, there was a time when Youngsta actually referred to Yo Gotti as OG, big homie, big brother, and CEO, so there's absolutely no doubt about who he was targeting with that. Statement. Now, here's where things get even more intense. Yo Gotti didn't just sit back quietly. Nah, he responded in a way that was calculated down to the last detail. He posted 3 photos of himself with the caption, "Nothing bigger, unbreakable," and paired it with Jay-Z's Dynasty intro. And for anyone who's been following hip-hop closely, nothing Gotti posts is random. Every single move, every post, every caption is deliberate. The Jay-Z track in particular is loaded with bars that perfectly align with the current drama. One of the first lines that stands out says, "The theme song to The Sopranos play in the key of life, on my mental piano." For context, The Sopranos is all about mob life, and Gotti is using that line to respond to Youngsta calling him CB4, essentially saying, "Yeah, I am that life and I'm unbreakable." But the bar that really reveals Gotti's mindset is when Jay-Z raps, "Clap whoever stand between Sean and figures." Let that sink in. Yo Gotti is essentially sending a warning. Anyone interfering with his money, his empire, or the CMG brand will face consequences. And if Youngsta's actions are perceived as threatening Gotti's business or the label's stability, well, you can read between the lines on what that implies. Now, the big question everyone's asking is, why now? Why has this tension finally erupted after years of simmering? One possible answer ties back to the young Dolph case. Recently, Hernandez Govan, who prosecutors alleged was the mastermind behind Dolph's murder, was found not guilty and walked free. That verdict shook the playing field and changed the dynamics for everyone involved. Let's address the elephant in the room. Blac Youngsta was the most vocal when it came to dissing young Dolph. Even after Dolph's death, Youngsta performed Shake Some at a Dallas nightclub shortly after the tragedy. He also shot a music video for, I'm assuming in a graveyard, rapping in front of a tombstone with Dolph's real last name, Thornton, etched on it. Moves like that caused major backlash, but Youngsta shrugged it off, stating, "I'm the type of dude who ain't never sat back and looked for nobody to feel sorry for me. I come from the heart of South Memphis, where you get no sympathy." For those who aren't familiar with the dynamics, here's the breakdown from an outsider's perspective. Youngsta and Gotti's tension started building after Dolph died. Word on the street is that Yo Gotti and CMG didn't want Youngsta publicly disrespecting Dolph posthumously, because Dolph was deeply respected in Memphis and beyond, and any negative attention tied to him could harm CMG's image. During the trial, Gotti's brother, Big Juke, was questioned, and CMG's name came up multiple times. So Youngsta's public trolling of Dolph's death wasn't just controversial, it directly risked Gotti and the label's business interests in the streets. Everyone knows what happens when the common enemy disappears. The crew starts turning inward. In this case, that enemy was young Dolph. Now that he's gone, the cracks are showing between Blac Youngsta and Yo Gotti. We saw a glimpse of this during the trial when Cornelius Smith, one of the alleged shooters, became the star witness for the prosecution. He testified that Big Juke allegedly placed a $100,000 bounty on Dolph. That's straight up snitching, plain and simple, and it revealed deep cracks in loyalty within the CMG circle. But this isn't just two rappers clashing over personal beef. This is about power, control, and what happens when an artist feels constrained or silenced. Youngsta himself admitted in an interview midway through his career that he and Gotti often clashed because of his approach. Gotti felt Youngsta was reckless and unpredictable at times. In fact, Youngsta even released a project under CMG called Young and Reckless. The title says it all. It perfectly sums up their dynamic. Youngsta, moving independently, bold, and often testing the limits of Gotti's control. But the real concern right now is how far this beef between Youngsta and Yo Gotti could go. If these two don't find a way to coexist, or at least manage their issues, things could escalate and turn deadly fast. Yo Gotti moves like a president, calculated, strategic, and connected at every level. He's got resources, influence, and the ability to make power plays from a distance. If things ever went to war, it would likely be Gotti's enemies, or even some of his associates' enemies, who end up paying the price. People could get hurt or arrested, while Gotti keeps himself insulated. For Youngsta, this is dangerous territory because Gotti's reach goes far beyond the streets. It wouldn't take much for him to manipulate situations, use connections, or leverage mutual contacts to get Youngsta in trouble. The old school mob way. When you're dealing with someone who has real clout like that, the stakes aren't just personal, they're life-altering. People in the streets have been comparing this to the young Dolph situation. If you rewind to where it all began, Dolph claimed that back around 2012, when he was starting to make serious moves in Memphis, Yo Gotti reached out and offered him a deal with CMG. Dolph turned it down. According to him, that's when the tension started building. He said Gotti basically dissed his own roster during the pitch, implying they weren't really up to par while painting Dolph as the exception. To Dolph, it felt like a betrayal, a move designed to throw Gotti's own team under the bus just to lure him in. That energy never sat right with him, and it planted seeds of conflict that would haunt the city for years. Now, fast forward to Youngsta's situation, we see a similar pattern emerging. He's speaking out about fake loyalty, fake love, and people who have been pretending for too long. He went on social media and said, I'm cool with standing alone. I'm cool with the fact that I have put trust in the wrong people a few times. I wash my hands. No more making it look good. We either cool or we not. That's the words of a man who feels betrayed. A man who put everything into an organization and a relationship that he now believes didn't hold up. And when you factor in that, as he said himself, all his brothers are gone, that creates someone with nothing left to lose, which, in any conflict, is the most dangerous type of person to deal with. At the core, this beef isn't just about Yo Gotti and Blac Youngsta. It's about loyalty, power, influence, and what happens when the foundation of a relationship begins to crumble. It's about how the pressures of money, ego, and outside forces in the music industry can turn brothers into enemies. It's about the long-term consequences of actions taken during beef, and how quickly those decisions can come back to haunt you. The pressing question now is whether this situation can be resolved before it spirals into something deadly. Memphis has already suffered too much loss from street conflicts. Young Dolph is gone. Big Juke is gone. Youngsta's own brother is gone. How many more lives have to be sacrificed before these cycles of violence finally end? For Yo Gotti, this is a test of leadership and control. Does he try to squash the beef, bringing Youngsta back into the fold, or does he let it play out and risk further bloodshed? For Blac Youngsta, it's a matter of legacy. Does he want to be remembered as the artist who stood by his team through everything, or the one who waged war on the people who helped build him into what he is today? The streets are watching. The culture is watching. Everyone is waiting to see what move comes next. In Memphis, when beef reaches this level, it rarely concludes peacefully. History has proven that time and again. So what do you think about Yo Gotti and Blac Youngsta's situation? Can they work it out, or has it gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. We're going to keep tracking this story and breaking down every development for you. This is real street politics playing out in real time, and we'll continue to break it all down for the community. Stay safe out there, fam. Remember, loyalty is everything, but so is knowing when to step back. Sometimes the realest move is choosing peace over pride. But in the streets of Memphis, well, that's easier said than done.